what is actually happening at the capillary bed. So first of all, we said we've got the formation of tissue fluid with the mechanisms that we described that depend on the hydrostatic and oncotic pressure. How does exchange of substances take place? So first of all, what we have here is the arterial here, where, of course, the first thing is that first event is that plasma is forced out of the capillary and becomes the tissue fluid. These here are my capillaries. And this here is my tissue fluid. And this here is the venial or the venous end. The second step is that some tissue fluid passes back into the capillaries. So that was the net inward flow of liquids. So that's step number 2 here. So some fluid is going to make its way back into the capillaries. What happens to the rest of the tissue fluid, though? It cannot just stay. There has to be a constant turnover, basically, of tissue fluid. The old tissue fluid that is low in nutrients and high in metabolic waste has to somehow get cleared out. Because of this sort of quite small difference in oncotic pressure, not all of the tissue fluid is going to be absorbed back into the capillaries. So the rest of it is picked back by a yet fourth type of vessels, which are not blood vessels, but rather they are part of the lymphatic circulatory system that absorbs the rest of the tissue fluid into the lymph capillaries here. So these here are my lymph capillaries. You might remember from your immunology that they also contain lymphocytes. So they also play a role in immunity, but their main role is to basically effectively drain the tissue fluid from our organs and tissues. And these are, of course, here are my body cells, body of somatic cells. Okay. Let's have a look at a typical question. Describe the movement of tissue fluid at the venous end of a capillary bed for only 2 marks. So let's break down again the question. My context is the exchange at tissue fluid, movement of tissue fluid. The command is just a simple describe, and my direction are the different conditions between the arterial and the venous end. Take a moment to structure this answer for yourselves. Let's look at these answers together. The answer. So, describe, right? So we are going to describe the movement of fluid. So water from the tissue fluid can drain into the lymph capillaries and enter the lymphatic system here. So that's or oncotic pressure can pull the water from the tissue fluid back into the capillaries as blood plasma. So, strictly speaking, the first mark about the lymph capillaries is not exactly talking to us about the venous end of a capillary bed. However, the question is asking me to describe the movement of the tissue fluid as a whole, right? So yeah, these are the two possible fates of tissue fluid. It can be absorbed back into the capillaries as blood plasma at the venous end, or it can be drained into the lymphatic system. So both are correct here. You could sort of answer either and get 2 marks.